I took this photo and I thought nothing of it. I had posted it and then Target reached out and licensed it from me. You can buy this photo in Target. The only resource we have that is limited is time, because money's fluid, but like time is a one-way street. Two things greatly affect the heart: beauty and adversity. For someone that experiences a lot of adversity, their remedy is beauty.
Welcome to the first video podcast of Talent Freaks with Andy Coon. I'm so excited. My friend and photographer, musician, writer, and certainly a talent freak, Dave Herring, is joining us today for a conversation. Dave is based in the Bay Area. He's a master visual storyteller, capturing the American West through his Leica cameras and sharing his authentic creative philosophy on his popular YouTube channel. As a photographer, filmmaker, musician, and writer, he brings a unique perspective to purposeful living, which we're excited to explore. I'm in the middle of Mount Shasta, and I wanted to do something unique and different for my podcast. Dave and I went up to Mount Diablo in California. We found a location, we sat down, set up 3 cameras, and boom, magic. So I hope you enjoy this conversation, and let's go to it. I've been friends with Dave for about 2.5 years now.
Yeah.
It's been wonderful. And when I first met him, I came across him and I was just like, this guy, like, I didn't know too much about you, but the things that you kind of showed, like when I first met you, I was like, this guy has something. There's something about him. And what did I tell you? I said, I would love to do something like follow you around.
Yeah.
Do a
That's exactly
documentary.
what you said. Follow me around.
Yeah, follow you around. And it took a couple of years because of our schedules, but also I'm glad it happened that way because just getting to know you and seeing how you have grown. You've always had those talents and skills, but how your YouTube channel has like blown up and all the dedication and the hard work that you put into it, but also the other side of it, being a family man and also, working at the Gathering and doing all those things together and being successful at every single one of them. It's really a privilege. So I'm honored that we're doing this and I have so many questions.
Yeah.
And it's just because I've seen you
I'm
in
excited
action
about it.
and it's so much fun. So just tell us a little bit about yourself, where you grew up. Where's the first place?
I mean, I'm from North Carolina, but obviously live here in California, and I've been here for several years now. But from North Carolina originally, my family became military when I was in high school, so I ended up moving to South Carolina for a bit, and then Germany, where I graduated high school, came back to North Carolina for school, for college, and ever since then, I've kind of lived all over. I'm basically a nomad at least when I was younger. I was very unsettled. So right out of college, I was in Virginia for a bit, then North Carolina again, and then I decided to go like west. And so I was in Colorado, and then I was in Minnesota, and then I was in Arizona, then back to the East Coast for about a decade, then California. So I don't necessarily have like, when people ask me like where I'm from, I'm kind of like, I'm born in North Carolina, raised in North Carolina, but I have none of North Carolina in me. Like the only thing that has remained North Carolina about me is that I love Carolina barbecue. And I mean, that's stayed, but everything else, I'm just like, I'm very much a nomad.
Vinegar based, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, gotta be.
Because, what is that one area? Is it Hickory?
Hickory, North Carolina. Yeah, that's like barbecue center. Yeah.
They have amazing festivals. So I lived in Greensboro for 20 plus years. And so I love North Carolina. I have a fascination, and there were so many stereotypes that I had of North Carolina because I'm from New Jersey.
And they're all true.
But there's so many good people, like
of course,
moderates. And I think a lot of people get a bad name for what people do. So it's
a very diverse state for
sure.
Is. And, like, I joke around about being from there. I mean, I am from like the most country small town no one's ever heard of. Like, I was born in the town of Warsaw, which is middle of nowhere, Eastern North Carolina. Eastern North Carolina, the country of Eastern North Carolina, like the country people, very down to earth, country folk, like that's different than like the mountain people, like, and I ended up growing up more like at the beach in Wilmington, but yeah, North Carolina is a great state, and all my family's still there. So I go back as often as I can, but yeah, definitely though, I'm wherever I am.
That's so cool, man. So going back to your childhood, like when did you start like getting enamored with photography? Was it during a kid or something you picked up as an adult?
Honestly, it was high school. Moving to Germany was like a chance to, like send photos home. And I grew up in the 80s and 90s, and so there was no digital photography. And so I got a Canon point and shoot, like it's not like a disposable camera. It's like a legit, like, point and shoot, little zoom Canon Sure Shot 85. I should have brought it. I still have it. Still use it actually. I take it to San Francisco often. But I picked that camera up when I was moving to Germany, and I used that to take photos of living in Germany. And so like, over there, especially in the late 90s, early 2000s, it was a pretty magical time, because like I'm technically like a Zennial, so I'm like in between Gen X and Millennial, but like I grew up very millennial. And so that time period, turning 16, 17, 18, living in Germany where you could hop on a train for 3 hours to go skiing with your friends. Like I would go snowboarding with my friends in the Alps. We would take a train to the Alps and go snowboarding and come home in the evening. And it was like $25. You know what I mean? Like it was just a different world back then compared to today. Like I took my camera with me, and I have photos of being like literally cloud inversions, but I didn't know that's what it was. I was just like, we're up really high. Here's a photo. And I look back today and I'm like, that's a freaking cloud inversion. That's amazing. That's what got me into photography. But really when it started to take off was like music was a huge part of my life. And I played in bands, and then I was like doing the singer-songwriter thing from like high school. Our band in high school was called $6 Chips.
Where'd that come from?
We one time got a box of expired chips from the grocery store. It was like they couldn't sell them anymore. So they were like, how about $6?
For the entire box.
It was for the whole box. It was, as a high school, we were like, this is amazing. So we called our band $6 Chips. Anyway, we had that. And then like going into college and doing the band thing. And, I always needed photos, and like, it's like, do you hire a photographer? Or do you learn to be a photographer and learn how to use a tripod and a timer, And so, digital photography was a brand new thing back then. And so, getting excited about the tech of digital photography, and then like learning how to edit. And back then it was Apple Aperture. Do you remember that app?
Yes, I do.
That was like before Lightroom, before really Photoshop was like a normal thing. It was like Apple. If you used a Mac, it was Apple Aperture.
And by the way, that's when Apple did also Final Cut Pro Studio. They had everything that was
I remember Final Cut 7.
Yeah.
That was
they had Apple Color. They bought a coloring system.
Yeah.
I learned that with the nodes and everything. And then they got rid of it.
Yeah. It's all changed now. Yeah. So I mean, like really music, or like travel and then music were like the big things that got me into photography. And then, I don't know, just as I got older, it just became more of my life. And I mean, honestly, man, a big part of that is because like I was really involved in music, right? But you can't do music with the family all the time. No. And so like, as I had kids, and then like Amanda and I, we travel a lot, or we used to, like when we would do a lot of road trips. Like we never like flew anywhere, exotic. We would just get in the car and like drive to South Dakota, And so like,
that's pretty awesome.
You can't be a musician and like include your family all the time. If you're playing shows or you're in a studio, like your family's not sitting there, or like you're writing a song or recording. It's different whenever you're taking photos. Like your family can be there. And when you're editing photos, you can sit on the couch in the living room, not in a studio listening to tracks, I can sit there while we're watching a show and edit. And so photography just became a lot more like lifestyle, it just worked. Whereas like music started to work less. And also I'm a big person that believes like when you find a fire burning somewhere, like put gasoline on it, not literally, but like
we're in California. So.
Yeah, not literally, but like I started getting a lot of opportunities in photography. I started getting a lot more like the music thing wasn't like going anywhere, right. But photography started to become a thing. So I was like, oh, let me chase this a little more. And so I kept chasing it more and more and more. And, here we are today.
So how did it evolve as far as like, was it first portraits? Like you said, you were doing headshots and stuff for bands.
Yeah. It was definitely music in the beginning.
Okay.
It was a combination of like band photos, and then, when you're in a band, you play with other bands. So I was shooting those other bands. I could be the photographer for their bands and like be the self-portrait guy for our band. And so it really like, that was kind of how it all all got going. But I quickly lost interest in that, and became a lot more just excited about like experiences. So like going to this really cool spot and then finding like cool photos to take in that cool spot. That's really what I got passionate about and excited about. And that doesn't make money, uh, but that was the photography that was driving me.
So, I mean, just watching you while I was setting up these cameras, like you taking pictures of the sunlight hitting the grass, like the golden, you know, and it's how, when you're around in nature in an environment, like how do you look at things? Like, does something like that happen? You're like, where's my camera? Or do you pull out your iPhone?
I'm gonna give you a really philosophical answer.
Okay.
All right. So many years ago, now 16 years ago, I want to say that sounds crazy. Doesn't seem like 16 years ago, but I went to this place for burned out people. I hit a huge wall in life, and my education is in like, I kind of have like two parts to my education. I did seminary, but I also did counseling and counseling and therapy. As like I was going to be a therapist. That was like my original goal in college. So I got hit a wall, super burned out with everything. I went to this place in Colorado. It was like a retreat, but it was like individual counseling for a week. And you work through your stuff and kind of leave there like rejuvenated, right? So it wasn't in a group setting. It's literally one-on-one. And then you have homework all week that's individual. So you're never around people except for the guy, like for me, it was Dr. Walker, who I was working with. And the first day there, this place is in like remote Colorado, middle of nowhere. I drove in from Denver. It took me 2 hours through nothing to get to this place. And it's a ranch, and the ranch is at the foot of a mountain. And when I got there, they have you hike the mountain, which isn't easy, you know, and so it's challenging by yourself. And the next day I did it, got up there, got back in the dark, but I did it, and I was proud of myself for doing it. The next day though, he said something so profound, and honestly, it's like something I just can't, it's become like a life saying for me. He said 2 things greatly affect the heart: beauty and adversity. And he's like, you know, for someone that experiences a lot of adversity, which I had been through a lot of adversity at that point, like the remedy is beauty, right? And so for me, like a lot of like that moment where the light was hitting there was backlighting, that was a pretty moment.
Yeah.
Now, granted, we live in California. We have blue skies almost every day.
Yeah.
That moment's going to happen again, probably tomorrow. But sometimes it never happens like that again. Or at least you won't be here when it happens again. And so I look for those moments that I think are beauty, because like they represent beauty, because I think those moments affect the heart. They affect my heart. And also like I try to document moments that are moving. And so, you know, we all have different things that move us. Some people are, one of my friends today posted on Instagram, he was like, are you a mountain person or an ocean person? I mean, and that's very generic, but like we all have things that move us, right? I'm a mountain. I love the mountains. I love big stone mountains, right? Those are moving to me. Sunrises, when the light hits the peak, you know, and hasn't hit anything else yet. The whole area is still kind of in the shade or the dark or blue. But then you see like the top of a mountain light up. Like that's moving to me. So for me, it's like I want to document beauty because that affects my heart. And I try to like catalog that almost. So it's one part being there and one part photography, if that makes sense.
It does, because as I've aged, matured, whatever you want to call it, I've grown as well and understand about like being in the moment and being present, especially in nature. You can go on so many hikes where you see people just talking while they're walking, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Like that's therapy for them. They need to do that. For me, I love the peace and quiet and just the beauty of nature and everything that gives back to us. And it puts things in perspective for my life. So I'd never had that when I grew up, and I just ignored it for most of my life. Live in California now, I have this amazing opportunity to see it in many different places. So when you said that, it makes sense to me. And also, I was with you in Alabama Hills when that sunrise came up, and I remember you saying that. You're like, look at the tip. Look at the tip. It was coming in.
Part.
Yeah. It was so amazing.
And I've chased that experience on every like iconic mountain in North America, like from the Canadian Rockies down to the Tetons to Alabama Hills. Like I've experienced that in just about every iconic spot that I can. There's one place I've tried to experience it in, it's never worked out. I'm gonna get there maybe next year.
You'll get there.
Yeah.
So the other thing I wanted to kind of just jump back a little bit is your music.
Yeah.
So how long were you playing music, and what was the time when you were like, I need to just move on to something
Yeah.
else?
I mean, I started I started music on piano, and then eventually like saxophone in grade school. I wanted to be a band director. Like if you asked me what I was going to do in high school, I wanted to be a music educator. I wanted to be the band director that was cool in the high school. Do you remember the movie Mr. Holland's Opus?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was like, that's the coolest dude ever. I want to be that guy. And so that's what I wanted to do, but I ended up not going to college for music. And I just played music for fun, but it did become a career. Like I played in a band that was, I say like semi-pro, but I mean, we made money. We made a living doing it. And we had a label and all that stuff represent us. And
That's amazing.
it was young college, like right out of college era. And then the singer-songwriter stuff was semi-successful, but it was always a hustle. It was always just like a constant, like 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and nothing is ever enough. Like no matter how hard you work, like so much of it is luck, timing, and who you know. And so yeah, those were hard boxes to tick during it. But music has been a huge part of my life, my whole life.
And you're still playing.
Yeah, I still do as much as today I would say I try to do as much supportive music as possible. Yeah. I'm not really like cranking songs out. I'm not doing studio session stuff. I haven't done that in years. But I do try to support with music. And I mean, my kids are musicians, so it's been pretty cool. My son is an incredible piano player for his age, and he's like got the best teacher. And so I get to experience that. And then my daughter is learning drums and she's a great little singer. And so like, I'm getting to experience that. And so I do try to stay active in music, but there's only so many hours in the day, and it doesn't, in different seasons, it might rise a little bit, but in this season right here, it's very much a supportive role.
Makes sense. So for your photography, what were some of, I don't want to say lessons, I guess they would be. What are some of the mistakes that you've made along the way that has helped you improve in your photography?
Mm-hmm. I think the biggest, probably I can identify 2 very quickly. One is thinking that the best time of the day to shoot is like golden hour when the lighting is perfect. That is a great time to shoot. But if you only shoot during those times, you miss like 90% of the day. I remember when I first got into like landscape photography and trying to be in the right place at the right time, like I mentioned, like the top of the mountain lighting up. Well, like if I had traveled to like, a spot to shoot that scene, the very like mistake driven Dave would shoot that and then not know what to do with the rest of the day, and like, it's so funny to look back on that season. So I think a lot of photographers think, well, photography is all about light, which it is, but the lack of knowing how to work with midday light makes people think they have to wait for like the perfect light to go shoot. And that's a lie. So that would be one very clear mistake. I think the second is like, there's nothing new under the sun, right? We can all agree, I'm not going to put my eyes on something that someone else hasn't put their eyes on. Even the most remote parts of the earth, like they've been photographed, documented. I mean, like I've been to Iceland, which is remote. I haven't done the Antarctica thing yet, but like there are people that go there for photo tours all the time. Yeah. The deepest parts of like the African Sahara, like all this stuff has been done. And so I think a mistake is whenever you see something that looks really cool and then you go to experience that thing and you leave there with the other person's photo, Yeah. And some of those spots you can't help but leave there with their photo because there's like one place to shoot. Mm-hmm. So like a good example of that would be like Lake Moraine up in Banff. Like I've been there multiple times and I have different photos from every time I've been there, but it's kind of, it's only different because of lighting or the clouds or the water level was different. Yeah. Where you can shoot from there to get that iconic like view, there's like one spot. You know what I mean? There's not like 100 areas to view that from. And that place has probably been photographed like a billion times between iPhone and professional. Like it's been photographed so much. It's one of the most like cliche places to photograph. Now it wasn't always cliche, but it is today. And so I think a mistake would be like chasing those compositions that like whatever I go and shoot, someone's already done it. And that doesn't help make me tell a story.
Yeah.
You know, it just makes me a copycat, you know?
Well, it's interesting you said telling a story, because in video world, it's like you have to tell stories with these, videos. And I learned as a photographer that you have to tell a story in a picture, like what's going on in here. And I think for me, at least, I find it much more difficult to do that than video. Video, you have people to interview, you could put voice over all this other stuff.
Right.
With camera, and everybody has a different perspective, just like art. But I also, and I'm going to go into this a little bit, but I feel like photographers have a better crossover when they become videographers than videographers going into photography. Now, I'm a videographer going into photography, but I have plenty of friends, you as well, that have gone into video and have just like brought that composition, the lighting, everything about photography into there, but also about telling the stories too. And a lot of it is not just, point establishing shot. It's about picking up those small details.
Right.
And I work closely with my friend who's a photographer, wedding photographer, in a corporate environment. And I would get the story, the video, and he would do all those little things. And to me, that was like the great sync of like, I needed that and he needed me. So it was great. But getting back to you, as far as photography, what you said kind of opened my mind, because when I see like noon, bright blue, I'm like, oh, F this. And I heard you in a YouTube, you were saying that.
Yeah.
And I was just like, man, I really would love to extrapolate that. And you just told it really well. The other thing you said that just made me go like, wow, because I want clouds like during the day. Because you said like you go to that lake, it's what's going to make it different, clouds, water level, those kind of things. But you're right, everybody has shot everything. And it's kind of like replicating it. So when you go to a place, how do you scout it, or do you just not pay attention to the things out there?
It depends on where I'm going. I do scout a lot. I'm scouting if I'm going like almost like documentary style shooting, which is I think different than like landscape. We have different goals. Like landscape, I mentioned like the whole beauty and adversity thing, right? And how that's moving. When I shoot landscapes like that, I'm looking for a wow. Like I want the photo to, I want to look at it, but I want other people to look at it and say, wow, like what a moment, But that's only landscapes. Like other types of photography that I do, I'm looking for different things. Like not wow, maybe wow, but like that's not the main goal of the story. And so I'll scout a location if I think like it'll help me know when I get there, like what to expect, so that I can plan the story that I'm going to tell in that spot. But with landscapes, you're at the mercy of nature. I flew one time to Jackson Hole, Wyoming in the winter. This is like 5 years ago with some friends. And they had never been there, and I had been there before. And I was so pumped to shoot the Teton Range, iced over, covered in snow, with snow on the ground. Had the vision for it, so pumped about it. Sunrises are orange there, like really orange. I'm like, orange, blue, and white. White snow everywhere, blue shadows, orange light. It's gonna be epic. And we didn't see the mountains while we were there because low-level clouds came and hung out the whole time. So for the days we were there, had to find other stuff to do. That never happened. Now they did open up our last evening at sunset, but that's a sunrise view. So the sunset's happening behind the mountain. So it wasn't the same. I didn't get the shot I wanted. You're at the mercy of nature is the point I'm making with that. But I definitely scout if it's going to help me like tell a story.
So what do you do when something like that happens? Like you said, we did other things.
Yeah, I mean, like you're just kind of at the mercy of what else can I find in this area? So, okay, in that trip specifically, we went and tried to find some wildlife because that area has wildlife. So we found a bunch of elk and then we hung out and tried to take some photos, get as close as we could safely to elk. We heard there was a moose like 4 miles down the road in like a brush patch. So we drove and we looked for the moose. We found him. But in the wintertime, moose aren't impressive because their paddles fall off. So they just look like giant deer. So,
Giants.
yeah. I don't know. We just drove around looking for wildlife. I don't even remember all the other things we did. But
What's the
like,
closest wildlife has gotten to you?
I've been pretty close to some wildlife. I'm a very avid rule follower, so I don't mess around. Like, I'm not trying to like break the rules around wildlife. Like, I'm not trying to go pet a bear. I think the animals that have been closest to me are bison because sometimes I'll shoot near a herd and the herd will shift and I have to make a decision at that point whether to just hunker down and let them pass me or try to get ahead of them. And moving fast startles big animals.
Yeah.
And so for me, bison can be very aggressive. They can also be very like chill if you're chill. So there have been times in Yellowstone where I'm literally like by my car, by the road, and maybe a bison herd is crossing the street and I'm at that correct distance away from them. But then they all of a sudden turn and come towards me. Well, it's like, do I run back to the car and try to like lock in? No, I just kind of like keep my distance, and like aware of them. They're aware of me. One time I was in my car in the winter as a bison was passing me in Lamar Valley and I had a 1-400 on. And I was like, he's like literally outside my window. And I just turned it to 100 because that's like, and that 100 is very close, and I just got a photo of his head and it's been my highest selling print I've ever done. Like I ended up putting that on my shop and I sold a lot of copies of that print.
It's a beautiful. That's the one that you shared with me. Right?
I think so. I think it was one of the scenes. It's just it's like all white because it was snow everywhere. It's not. The head is mostly cut off because it was a 100 mil lens. But like,
and it was right outside your car.
Yeah. What was in focus though is his eye and like his profile.
Yeah.
And like you can look at the texture of his fur because he's so close. But I mean that was pretty close. Yeah.
What kind of camera was that with?
That was with a Sony A7R3.
Okay.
Back when I used to shoot Sony. Yeah. You got this shirt and I think it said, how I met my friend Maddie Sheets. You got to tell me what the shirt means.
Well, thanks for asking. So it's a sad story, but it's a friend of mine from Greensboro, North Carolina. I lived there for over 20 years. And when I was in college, I worked at a pizza place and I left college, went back home. Then I moved back to Greensboro because I couldn't stand New York City. It was too much for me. But I moved back there and I started up again, and that's where I met Matty Sheets, and he was a waiter, and he also was a musician, and I got to know him through that, and then our lives kind of separated from there. And he was a musician in town where everybody knew him. If you're a musician in that town, and there are a lot of really talented musicians in Greensboro, you knew who Matty Sheets was. He was an MC. He was also a musician, a songwriter, all those things. It was unfortunate. As I think late 30s, he started having issues. He had multiple sclerosis. He got diagnosed with that, and then last year he thought he was having a flare-up with his MS. So he went to the hospital, and they found out that he was end-stage colon cancer. It's unfortunate when artists, musicians, where they have that lifestyle that they can't afford insurance and those things.
Yeah, it's horrible.
So it's a sad tale about like what he had to go through, but the people who he touched in life will always remember him for his kindness, his generosity, and the kind of person he was, and also about the music. He sang with heart. He had amazing lyrics, and everybody respected for what he did. So that's who Matty Sheets is. So thank you for asking him.
As you're sharing that, it almost like just reinforces in my own heart and mind how important it is to like have the character, not just be an artist, and something we can talk about at a later date, but like everything you just said was about who he was and not like his greatest hits, but like who he was. And when artists also have character, like that is the greatest thing. When you go,
Some of you said when we were in Keeler about how you don't want to intrude in people's like space, even though that place, like they had rundown RVs, abandoned
Yeah,
homes. And you've said this before, when you explore those places, like you feel like you want to respect the people that were there or are there,
yeah,
but are not being seen. What is your fascination with like these ghost towns, small
yeah,
towns,
yeah.
and even like abandoned towns that people are still living there?
Yeah, that's my favorite stuff to photograph right now, and it has been for years. Like I love the landscapes, but I also like hunting ghost towns. You know, it's I think one part of it's Americana. You know, it's nostalgia maybe, even for a generation that I wasn't part of. Like, you ever watch Andy Griffith? Like, there are towns here in parts of the, especially in the northern plains, that like are Mayberry abandoned. If imagine like Mayberry, the Andy Griffith show, was a real place and everyone just left. And then 50 years later, you walked in and looked around. There are literally places like that in the Northern Plains. And I love finding those and photographing them. But even more than that, kind of chasing, I mentioned being nomadic, right? I'm very much a nomad. And so there's something about like that pioneering spirit that brought people west. You know, stops along the Oregon Trail, establishments of Hell on Wheels, which was the city that moved with the Continental Railroad being built. Just like that journey west ended up popping up a lot of towns and settlements that aren't real places today.
Yeah.
But their remains are not like remains as in like a graveyard.
Yeah.
No, I mean like buildings, barns, homesteads, little towns, general stores. These things all exist. They've just, many of them are in towns of 10. There's a guy that I spent some time with last summer in a town of 1. He's the only person that lives there. And then
What kind of questions did you ask him when you met him?
I just wanted to hear about his life.
Yeah.
He grew up there when it was a town of like 40.
Oh, wow.
But by then it was already mostly abandoned. And he is, you know, in the last season of his life, you know, he's not a young man,
Yeah.
but he grew up there and it was already a dying town. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's not like it was like some thriving city. Everyone was leaving by the time his parents brought him into the world, you know?
Yeah.
And he grew up there. He left during Vietnam and came back and has lived there the rest of his life. I asked him about COVID. I was like, what was it like? Because like I came into this town in 2009 because I never even heard of this place. Driving by, I saw a sign for this town. It said population 3. So I was like, the U.S. Census put a sign up that said population 3. I was like, I'm pulling in. So I got off the road, crossed the train tracks, went to the little town. You could see it on the horizon. I drove over to it. And it was Amanda and I, we one of our road trips I told you about. We just get in the car and drive to South Dakota or whatever. We were in Wyoming. And this guy's cutting the grass. And he comes over, says hi, introduces himself as the mayor. And told us a little bit about the town, took us in the general store, which he owns and runs. And it's him and his brother that live in the town. And then there's a woman that owns the bar across the street.
Oh, wow.
And the 3 of them, they live there. Now, that was in 2009. When I stopped in last summer, the guy that I met, he's passed away 15 years ago. So right after basically we had met him, he had passed away. He was an older man, the mayor. The woman that ran the bar, she got dementia, put in a nursing home. And so she's not there anymore. So it's just him. And the brother, I had never met him. I only met his brother when I stopped in before. But, you know, I wanted to hear about his life. I mean, it's fascinating to me.
Yeah.
The town, I mean, this town has a general store. It has their community center, which was also the school, which is also the dance hall, which was also like town hall. And so he gave me a tour of the community center, the jail out back, the playground that has not been updated probably since the 60s or 50s. And all the playground equipment's back there, but kids don't play on it, you know? And he cuts the grass still, so it looks nice. The bar across the street, the general store, still there, you know? Anyway, I asked him about COVID. I'm like, what did you do? And he was like, what was it? I mean, that was his answer. He was like, I know. Sense. He's like, I know it was going on, but it wasn't going on here, you know? And I mean, he goes to the nearest town is about 35 miles away, and he gets his groceries and he comes back. And that's his life. And it has been for a long time. And I was like, are you happy? No wife, no kids. Like, are you happy? Do you feel like you've lived a full, happy life? And he said he was so happy. And I was happy for him, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
But like, you don't find that stuff like in San Francisco,
No.
really. You know, not that it could exist. There's definitely people that live isolated lives, but like that kind of story happens in those kind of towns.
Yeah.
And not everyone's super friendly like him. There's definitely people in some of these towns that don't want you there. Which you were referring to in Keeler.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some people in Keeler that don't like photographers walking around the town. Our group, when we were out there, as you were part of it, you know, some guys got confronted.
Mhm.
Well, I wasn't part of the guys that got confronted, but you know, some people thought they were government surveillance.
And that's why they go to those places.
Yeah, exactly. They were trying to get off the grid, and
Yeah.
so you have to use some wisdom and some like that's where the scouting comes in.
Mhm.
You know, kind of understanding where you're going, like who's where, and there's different strategies on how to do that and kind of learn the lay of the land before you go. And but man, I have found people for the most part are friendly on the front end. So if you ask permission and you're friendly, most people will meet you with that as well. I got access to a bunch of crazy cool places for a project I'm doing last year. When I was working on that project, I got access to some ranches that had homesteads on them from the Oregon Trail, private property. They took me to them. I got access to settlements and schools that have been abandoned for generations, like all on private property because of the research and connecting with the right people who led me to those places. I mean, it's really cool stuff.
I have a question. If you see a sign, like, let's for example, like it's an abandoned place, but you see in there like let's go schoolyard.
Yeah.
And it has like everything that was just left for some reason. But you see a do not trespass sign.
Yeah.
How does that affect you?
I don't trespass. I don't break the rules because at the end of the day, like, I've got to be able to sleep at night, and I don't want enemies. I want to be able to rest peacefully, and I'm not trying to like be the guy who gave photographers a bad name. I'm going to respect the signs. I'm going to respect the people. If someone doesn't want to be photographed, I'm not going to take their photograph. Like I try to, you know, and I think that's just an honorable way to be an artist. Now, if there is a no trespassing sign and it's on the tree, I will approach to the tree. I won't go past it. But, and I carry an assortment of lenses to try to reach the things that I can't see. I mean, I've got some photos of places that I could not enter, but I had the right lens, you know, and I was able to reach those things. Specifically last summer, I did pull into a place. There wasn't a no trespassing sign, but in some of these small towns, they know you're there. I saw a homestead or a building or something, couldn't tell what it was, kind of off on the horizon in a field. I pulled off the road into the dirt road that goes to that. And there was a fence, but the fence was open. There's no trespassing signs. So I parked for a minute and I was like, okay, this is somebody's land. There is not a no trespassing sign. Should I drive up? And within 30 seconds of me stopping there, a truck pulled in from across the street. And this old man was like, what are you doing here? Why are you here? And I was like, sir, I'm a photographer. I'm working on a book. Your place here looks cool. I thought I'd take a photo. Do you mind if I get a photo? Like, do you mind if I go down and take a photo of your place? And he was like, I very much mind, and I don't want you down there. And I was like, sir, I completely respect that. I will go ahead and leave. And I got back in my car, and as I was getting ready to pull out, my window down, while I was sitting in the car getting the seatbelt on, I put the 90 mil on the Leica, lean out the window. Then I got out of there. I did not go down the road as he wished, and I got out of there. And, you know, I got that photo. And yes, it's going to be in the book because it sequences perfectly with another one that I had. But, you know, I left. I did what he asked me to do. I did not approach his property to do that.
I respect that so much because I've seen a lot of photographers, even just they post on Instagram, they show not only trespassing, but walking like you know, where flowers are, like walking to get that shot.
Right.
And sure, those shots get a lot of views, but
yeah,
it's also
the photo's not worth our humanity though.
No, it's not.
You know, it's not worth like what you give up to get it. It's I think there's like a line that you have to, like a line is an art, and yeah, art is supposed to be progressive, but make it progressive doing the right things, not on someone, not trespassing, not stomping on somebody's flower field or nature, not cutting down a tree, not destroying land, whatever it looks like, be progressive in a creative and strategic way, and don't be an asshole. That's what it comes down to.
Don't be an asshole.
Yeah.
My friend, he's a not a professional photographer, but he loves photography, and he's a street photographer, and he lived in Pleasanton.
Oh,
and
nice.
He took pictures of the town during their farmers market, but also just around town. Like, he got to know people.
Yeah.
I mean, he's from China originally. And so what I saw from him, because the Museum of Pleasanton put his stuff on display, gallery.
Cool. Yeah.
And I did a small video about it for the company I work for. But what was really cool after working with him was seeing how he was now part of the community.
Yeah.
Because as a street photographer, he wasn't just
Right.
like sitting back taking pictures of people. He, like you're saying, storytelling.
Yeah, storytelling.
He was walking up to people, talking to them. Then he'd be like, "Can I take a picture?" Now that he got that essence of who they were, but also like after that, everybody would like I walked with him in the market, and people going like, "Hey Tao, hey Tao."
Yeah,
And he
that's
became like a local.
Yeah.
And then he moved. He moved to Capitola.
Yeah.
He's doing the same thing down there.
Yeah, nice.
And now there's a coffee shop with his pictures over there, and he does it, and he'll print the photos
That's
and
cool.
go hand it to them.
Yeah.
Like in a big frame, because he's a staff engineer, so he has extra money where he can do
Yeah,
that. But he's
yeah.
so generous. And that's part of the thing that I see, like, I see how you would potentially do something like that. So that's where I'm trying to get at is like
Yeah,
your
yeah.
street photography, and how do you, like when you're out in San Francisco or any street
Yeah.
for that, what do you look for, and how do you go about like not interfering with people that might not want to be?
Yeah, I mean, first off, like, we should acknowledge that, like, if you're in public, you're in public.
Yeah.
You don't have any right to privacy when you're walking on the street. Now, in Europe, you do, because they passed a law that says, like, if you don't want to be photographed, like, no one can photograph you. Different world. Here in the U.S., legally and just like technically, if you are in public, you are open season, right? And that's just how it works here in the US. Now, you can take that and run with it and do whatever you want, right? Which is what a lot of street photographers do. I don't do that. But I will say that, like, when I go out to do street photography, I'm mostly getting photos of people that are checking some boxes that make the photograph interesting. And I imagine they check those boxes because they don't mind, like, being that kind of person, right?
I get what you're saying.
You know what I mean? And so, like, I have some hard rules too. In fact, I just made a video about this. Like, I don't photograph people, like homeless people. I also don't photograph somebody like begging or with their sign. Like, I don't do that stuff. And I mean, everyone can do whatever they want. Those people, you can photograph them legally. I'm not here to tell anyone what they can and can't do. I don't, because it feels predatory to me.
Yeah.
And so, like, I'm not going to go post on Instagram or print a photo for a book or a project of somebody who's down on their luck. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to do that. In the same way, I don't photograph children, other people's kids. I think kids don't have a say in their privacy, and they should. Now, like, there's sweet family moments happening all around me when I'm out street photography, but I don't take pictures for those families. I don't take pictures of their kids, you know? I don't want anybody doing that to my family or my kids, so I don't for others. So I don't photograph kids. And those are my two hard and fast rules. But what I'm typically looking for in street photography are more questions and answers. If I see something that is curious, that I think, if I get a photo of that, there's going to be more questions and answers, then that's interesting to me, and I'll get a photo of that. But yeah, I think having a compass when you're doing street photography is important. And if you just go out and you're like, I'm just going to shoot whatever, you're probably going to come back with some lackluster stuff. And so if you go out there with a compass, though, for me, it's like, I'm going to find things like that raise more questions than answers. And if they don't do that, I'm probably not going to photograph it. So I just did this walk in Santa Monica on the pier. I did 4 laps up and down the pier. And I have a video on this. I don't know if you saw it or not, but, like, I got photos like, okay, I saw like a dude, he's like 6'6" wearing a Pikachu hat. Like straight up the Pikachu. That's more questions than answers, right? Because it's like a kid's hat, right? Yeah. Like, there was a lady, there was this like umbrella, like colorful umbrella, rainbow umbrella, and this lady in like a rainbow vest who just passed through it, but then the wind was blowing her hair. That was more questions than answers. Yeah. I'm like, what? did she plan on being in front of the umbrella? Because like her vest is all colorful and matches it. Or was that just the right place, right time? You know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff. So yeah, you got to have some type of compass.
In this segment, Dave and I talk about his 20 favorite photographs that he's ever taken. And it's so cool. We'll share the photos on the screen while he talks about it, his philosophy, what excites him about them. And if you're listening to the podcast, you'll get a really good sense of what he's talking about. But I encourage you to come to the YouTube channel to watch this segment.
Yeah, so this first photo was actually my first YouTube video. But I made 3 videos and then didn't make a video for a year because I got in a car accident on the second video I made. Like literally the day I was making it, I got in a car accident and it put me in the hospital, ICU. And when I got out, I tried to make one more and I just didn't have the energy.
Yeah.
And so, and then a year later I tried again and that's when it started getting some momentum. But I went here because this is one of my bucket list landscapes. And I was like, I'm going to make it happen. I went by myself up here. This is Jasper, Spirit Island. And when I was growing up, I had a book that had a photo. It was like a Reader's Digest from the 60s, like an old like nature book. And there was a photo of the spot. And I used to go look for this as a kid. I would go on my bike and ride through the woods thinking this was near my house. And so this place was really special to me. And it was hard to get to. This is not an easy place to get to. You have to go really far, drive really far, and then take a boat. But yeah, so that's a really, really special landscape for me. I wish the weather would have been better, but guess I'll have to go back. So yeah, this next one, Alabama Hills, but this is not your typical like beautiful sunrise photo. This is like 10 minutes before sunrise. I love photos with 3 colors. This is a 3-color photo. It's brown, white, and blue. Sunrise brought in all this other color, which is beautiful. And most people, when I did an A and B on this one time, and everyone chose the sunrise one. But this is the one that I like. This is my favorite colors, and this is my first time ever seeing this place. This was the first time I was ever there. And as the light was coming up, I got there in the dark. I had no clue what to expect. You know, you go to sunrise, you get there in the dark and you wait. Well, while I was waiting, I saw it for the first time, and this is what I saw. So I took the photo before the sun came up. This is, I was talking about Lake Moraine earlier and that one shot you can get. This is that one shot. Except I had been there before and I had gotten probably a better photo with lighting. But again, this is before the sun came up. And this is that same trip as Spirit Island. I was just here the day before.
Oh, okay.
And this is the right lens. When I was there before, I had a 24 and it's not wide enough. So I came back with a 16. Whoa. This is a 16. And so I got the whole lake in. Whereas last time I was there, it was more like this, you know? And so I was really stoked about this and actually ended up licensing this photo to a company. And they're still using it today on their website as a wallpaper downloads. They licensed it to me to give it. And it's been downloaded like over 1 million times. Dang. So really cool photo. This one from Yellowstone, this is a bison running across Lamar Valley to catch the herd after the herd had passed. I missed the herd. In fact, my wife has me on video getting this with her iPhone because I hopped out of the car because this herd was coming by. And I was like, that is epic. And they were kicking up dust. But by the time I got out of the car, grabbed my camera out of the back, there was one passing and then I missed that one. And then there was one more trying to catch up, like running in the back. And that was the last one. And I don't know, something about this photo, it's probably top 5 favorite photos. I know I sent you several, but this is a top 5.
That's so cool.
Yeah. This photo is the Watchman in Zion National Park. This is an incredible sunrise experience, except I got there late. I shot sunrise somewhere else, and as I was driving back, I stopped at the Watchman. This is more of a sunset spot, like historically. Sunrise is beautiful there also. But I was like, remember I mentioned like everyone else has this shot? I was like, I'm going to find a new shot. So I found a composition. I got down in the brush into the flowers. And I took this photo, and I thought nothing of it until like I had posted it, and then Target reached out and licensed it from me. You can buy this photo in Target. And so
that's amazing.
I was like, maybe this photo is actually special because like Target bought it off me.
Where did they find it? Like, where did they find it?
I used to share photography on Unsplash, which is a website for free stock photography. And I put I put my B images up there most of the time. This was a B image to me at the time. But every company, it's a great place to find commercial gigs because every company uses Unsplash to get concepts, or they reach out to like the creator and say, hey, we'd love to hire you to do X, Y, and Z. I've got most of my highest paying corporate or commercial work from Unsplash.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, Target found this on Unsplash, and then they emailed me. I thought it was a spam at first because it was like from somebody at target.com. I was like, is this real? But it was real, and the check cleared. Canadian Rockies. This is in Soho National Park. Hope I'm saying that correctly. This is a morning that we were there with some friends, and some of our friends had gone out in a yellow canoe, and they were the only people on the lake. And so, like, I don't know, just the timing of that yellow canoe. And again, like, I like 3 colors in a photo. So you kind of have this spectrum of green between the trees and the water, the yellow canoe, and then like the gray tones of the sky, the bluish, the steely blues in the mountain and everything. So I don't know, just it kind of checks all my boxes. This is a more questions and answers, you know? This is a piano inside of basically looks like a cave. It's an old Chinese dugout from mining town. It's a ghost town. At some point, someone put a couch in there as well, but these are from 1800s. This is where a Chinese family would have lived because they were miners that had come here, and they were working in California in the mines. And but today there's a piano in it. This place was in a town that people do live in. I think 40 people live there. And had I not met a local while I was photographing this town, she told me about this dugout and how to find it. I would have never known about it.
Watching that video, I remember they were talking about the wash. I was like, what the hell is a wash?
Yeah.
Kept going, the wash. It's down by the wash. So I guess that's when water comes in, it washes.
Yeah, it's the lowest point in the area that the water will come through if it rains. And so typically everything ends up in the wash. Wow. And so if you go to a ghost town or whatever, a truly abandoned town in the desert, and you want to find stuff, you find the lowest point, the wash, where like, when it rains, everything takes that stuff and eventually gets into the wash.
That's so cool.
This is Rhyolite.
I've been there.
That is a really cool spot. But what really worked about this photo, I was there at a good time of day, and I didn't plan that. I was actually behind schedule. So I got there more during like that gentle golden hour lighting versus like midday, which I don't mind shooting in midday. But there were like stormy clouds on the horizon. And when you've got like bright sunlight on one side and stormy clouds on the other, that is a perfect recipe for black and white. And so I love this photo because of the darker clouds, but the bright, intense light on the building. And it's a ghost town. And this is a true ghost town. Like, nobody lives in Rhyolite. And so it's a, very cool abandoned place.
So did you have a color and black and white camera with
you?
I
shot this fully in color.
Okay.
But I never, on my digital cameras, I never have the preview in color. I always have it in black and white.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so, like, if I'm previewing an image on my back screen, it's in black and white always. Oh. So I shot it in RAW with the intent to make it black and white. This was in the Tetons, and I love photographing bison. It's my favorite animal. Got a bison tattoo on my arm. And Amanda and I were there. Kids were with our friend. And this is about a little over a year ago. And there just happened to be a ton of fog out that morning, but it was all low. And so you can see the sky above, which is kind of a weird combo, right? And it's not weird here in the Bay, but it's weird in the mountains to get low level fog, but on a clear day. And so we just, like, this right place, right time, like the bison herd was in a spot accessible from the road. Cause this is what you don't see here is there's a fence, and I'm not hopping the fence. And the fence is a national parks fence to keep people from getting close to the bison. But I mean, it's just like a wooden fence. It's not like a chain link, but there's a fence, so the bison were close. You have the fog, and you have the morning colors, and it's very magical and dreamy looking to me. So I love this shot.
And you got the colors there too.
Yeah,
3.
yeah, right. You'll see that as a theme. This is actually the morning before. It had snowed that morning, and I was shooting this like beam of light just hitting the mountains from, this is sunrise or a little after sunrise, but I mean, you can see the clouds were intense. It was dark, like intense clouds, and the Tetons are cut off. You don't even see the mountains, but there was light coming through. And as I was photographing that, an elk crossed the street. And I mean, like, what are the odds? So I was like, that is like the most perfect moment. And that is a moment that's not going to happen again. You know, where this is a summer snow.
Oh, wow.
This is not the winter. This is like, well, technically spring. It's late May,
Oh,
but this
geez.
is May.
Yeah.
Whereas like the next day it was 70 degrees. So it snowed, crazy clouds, yet the eastern side was clear and an elk crossed the street in the middle of it. You know what I mean? Like, what are the odds?
That's so cool.
Fun fact.
That is beautiful. Love
Yeah,
the
you like this one?
reflection. Yeah.
A lot of people really like this one as well. Fun fact. In North America, you cannot fly drones in the national parks, obviously. That's true in the US. It's very true in Canada. And the fines in Canada are way more steep than the US. And rightly so.
Yeah.
I am 100% in favor of not flying drones in US national parks. In Italy, they don't care. Like, they truly are like, yeah, you want to fly a drone? Whatever. Like, people fly drones in the national parks there. This is in the Dolomites in Italy. And this is a hard place to photograph. There's an iconic shot from the boathouse with the mountain in the background, and I got that as well. But I was like, you know, I wish I could get a different composition. So I got my drone out, and I got my drone up. I didn't fly it like 400 feet high, you know. I got it just like maybe 15, 20 feet over the dock and composed this shot with the drone and got this photo. And yeah, I love it.
I love the fact that you have a drone shot in like some of your favorite pictures. That's
and
so
I don't
cool.
do a ton of drone
No,
stuff,
you don't.
but like,
But you
this was,
saw an opportunity. You're
yeah.
like, I already have the shot.
Yeah.
How can I see something else?
yeah, because I wanted to find something different and maybe timeless, you know, for me. So there's that one. This one is in the Valley of Fire, and I was doing a project where I was taking self-portraits as an astronaut. I don't know if you noticed
I
this.
did see that.
But that's me.
That's so cool.
And this is a self-portrait, and it looks like Mars.
Yeah, it does.
So I was taking desert photos in a full-on astronaut outfit. Yeah, I called it Rocket Man. It was a Rocket Man series I did. So that was a cool photo.
Where is that again?
This is in the Valley of Fire in Nevada.
Nevada. Okay.
Yeah, about 2 hours from Vegas or so. Tetons,
Gorgeous.
backlit. You have to get a photo like this, you have to have either hazy clouds or smoke, wildfire smoke. And this happened to be some wildfire smoke. So as the sun was setting behind the mountains, you can see the sunbeams. There's something really special about seeing backlit mountains with sunbeams. In fact, one of the other favorite ones I have was just from a recent trip. Same thing, just it was hazy clouds instead of wildfire smoke. There's the bison shot we talked about earlier from the car window. I just love this shot.
It's so gorgeous.
It's
man.
been the print that sold the most.
Yeah, for a reason.
This is in the Italian Dolomites. This is a cliche shot. I don't care. I still thought it was
gorgeous.
beautiful. What I love about this, like this photo's been done a billion times, right? What I love about this though is it is a long hike to get to this because you can't drive to this. So you have to park your car, and then it's a paved road. It's just a road you can't take your car on because like that road is closed to anyone that doesn't live back there. And so, and these are like, you can see little huts and cabins. And so you can't drive the road. And so like to get to this spot, I took my family as well. And my kids were small and they were such troopers. Like we brought a stroller for my daughter because she's not a trooper, but my son, he put on his hiking backpack, and this, I think it was 2.5 miles each way, which for at the time, a 5-year-old, that's pretty intense. You know, it's 5 miles. So this photo is special to me because, not just because of the photo, which I'm very much in love with, but also the experience and memories I have with it. Dolomites also, I wanted to do some photos of Amanda and my daughter, Marcella. And my daughter's, her name's Marcella, is an Italian name. My grandma's from Rome and was an immigrant. Her name is Liliana Marcella. And so it was special for us to take Marcella to Italy, and we wanted to do some photos, like family portraits while there. And so Amanda and Marcella got matching dresses. And this is up in the Dolomites. And I just was taking photos of them as they were running around the field. And it's got a very Sound of Music kind of vibe.
Yeah, it does.
But I mean, we had clouds. We didn't have great lighting. But I love this photo. Like, it's one of my favorite photos I have, obviously, because I sent it to you. Have you ever heard the difference between hunting and fishing in photography?
No.
When you're hunting, you're going out and you're looking for a photo. When you're fishing, you see an opportunity and you're waiting.
Okay.
Right? So this is a fishing photo. I was in Greece. I had a commercial shoot on the island of Patmos for a week, and my family was there too. They brought the whole family over, which was amazing. Small island, but I was at one of the higher points on the island, and I was just standing in this spot, and you can see the lighting is really, like, really pretty. It's golden hour, and I kept seeing dudes on like motorbikes come by, and I was like, I'm gonna wait until there's a cool motorbike. And so I'm literally in this gap waiting to see who's gonna come by. This is the fishing part. And I got 5 or 6 guys that came by, but one of them was on a yellow, like, Vespa.
Nice.
And that was the one, because, like I said, you're fishing. You're just waiting for that fish to bite.
Now, is that picture your favorite because of the story?
No, I also like, if it checks my boxes. It has three colors.
Yeah.
Has like the yellowish green spectrum, white and, well, basically white. The blue is barely there, but like yellow, green, and white. To me, like, my favorite photos are ones that I could see printed on a wall, hanging up as art, you know. Yeah, this one, it's kind of funny. This is a very old edit. I need to reapproach this one because I don't edit like this anymore. But yeah, this is in the Tetons as well. But I had the wrong lens on for what we were doing. We were taking a boat across Jenny Lake, me and Amanda and the kids. And it's like a little charter boat. Or not even a charter boat, it's a taxi. They take you to the other side so you can go hike the other side, right? And I was like, let's just take the boat across and just see what it's like. The kids were really small at the time, and we weren't doing any hiking. But I wasn't expecting to take photos on the boat. So I had a 135 on.
Oh, wow.
So that when we got off the boat, I could do some family portraits, like with some compression down the beach. The kids are playing in the water or playing on the rocks. But I got the 135 on, and I was just kind of looking around, and like, this was the composition at 135 millimeter.
Beautiful.
So I was like, and I saw the sun just cutting through in this like little like light band here with the clouds. I was like, okay, that's pretty epic. So the wrong lens led to one of my favorite photos.
That's so cool, man. And that's what I was talking about, like mistakes.
This is in Glacier.
God, that's gorgeous.
And this is during the pandemic when nobody was there. I had access to some of the national parks to do some photography. Nobody was in Glacier. In fact, it was honestly kind of terrifying. If you've ever been there, you drive what's called Going to the Sun Road, and it's a long road to the very top of the park, and it's high elevation. And like, I drove up for sunrise and nobody was there. No cars ahead of me, no cars behind me. I got up there in the dark at the highest point. I'm 45 minutes from the entrance to the park alone. It was freaky. And sun came up, did some photos. As I was driving back down, nobody's there. Park's completely empty. But there was wildfire smoke. This is in the fall. There was wildfire smoke in the park. And you can see what the wildfire smoke did as the sun was coming across. I mean, it just made the whole area glow. So that, I mean, I just love the photo, but it was also a cool memory. Man. That's the other one I was talking about from the Tetons, where they're backlit because of the sun set. Hazy clouds, and there was a hole in the cloud while there was, like, that's not Photoshop, that's real. Like, that is how it looked. And so yeah, the light was coming across the mountains, but there was a hole in the clouds. The light was just pouring through as well. It makes the sunlight look almost like water, you know. And that's, yeah, really special, really cool.
That's it.
Is that it?
Yeah,
man. We went through 20 photos. I tried to go through it fast.
Well, dude, that was impressive. Yeah. Like, you hit everything that you made those pictures sing, and to a point of understanding, like, your philosophy and looking at that.
It's kind of fun because some of those are pretty old. Like,
are they?
Some of those date back 7-8 years ago, which, it's pretty cool.
This segment was a lot of fun. I asked Dave to mic himself, and it was cool because we were in the middle of a photo meetup with a bunch of guys, and we were in Keeler, California, located on the eastern side of the Sierra Nevada mountains along the dry Owens Lake in California. Keeler is a captivating near ghost town, once bustling lakeport and mining hub, now characterized by its abandoned buildings and stark historic landscapes.
Yeah, you wired me up and you were like, talk about the stuff you're going to do. And I just went out and shot by myself for like an hour with a live mic. Also just aware that like, oh, I shouldn't like say anything crazy, but I probably did.
No, my favorite thing is,
Andy, when you're listening, you're going to hear a lot of heavy breathing. It's hot. I'm walking around carrying a bunch of gear. Don't judge.
don't judge me.
Don't judge me.
I was like, oh, that was great.
It was hot and I was walking around a lot, carrying a bunch of gear. I don't know if you remember, I was carrying
Yeah.
a camera for video for the YouTube stuff, my photography camera, and the bag with alternate lenses in it, like with a film camera.
With a film camera, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot I had the film camera as well, and I had the medium format film camera. I was not a little guy. I was carrying a bunch of weight. Hands were full. Yeah. It was a
And
good
I'm so
time.
glad you did that because I'm gonna add it to this, like
Nice.
so you'll
Yeah,
hear it. But one of the things you said,
Everyone else is in one direction and I'm going in the other. Because if I see a bunch of people around me, I notice what they're doing and I don't want to notice what they're doing because I want to do my own thing. And that's not out of arrogance or out of like not wanting to do what others or like hang with others. It's more from the place that I want to have a bit of my own time as an introvert. And I don't want to be inspired for the wrong thing.
and it just talk a little bit about that. Like, is it like when I feel the same way when I'm around groups. I don't like being in groups because I tend to get influenced, but that's just my brain.
Yeah.
Like I'm very easily influenced. So I try to avoid that. But why did you say something like that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we were with a group for 3 days, right? Shooting nonstop together. The only real alone time you had was in the car, right? I ride that line of like introvert, extrovert, right? I like doing extrovert things, but I have to recharge as an introvert. Like I have to recharge alone. And photography is recharging for me. So when we got to Keeler, everyone went one direction. And I was like, I'm going to go in the other because it gives me a little alone time. So I can recharge. It lets me kind of get in my photography zone where I'm not trying to like focus on answering questions or talking about like, or you know what I mean? Like trying to encourage somebody or process a composition with them. Just looking for what I'm looking for. And so, yeah, like it's not like I don't want to be with people. I very much had a great time and loved the group that we had, but I just needed to recharge for a few minutes.
100% understood. So you also said, I don't want to be inspired for the wrong thing. What does that mean to you in a practical sense when you're out shooting? And how do you filter influences or ensure that you're staying true to your own vision?
Yeah, I think I was talking about like watching what other people were shooting in that moment. And sometimes like, especially in a group setting with photography, or I would say it's true of maybe of any art. Sometimes like when someone strikes gold, everyone rushes to get the gold, you know? Or like, I think like a piñata, like, you know, we're all out there trying to find a photo and someone hits it and boom, all the candy falls. Like every photographer is going to run to the candy, you know? And I just like, don't even want to tempt myself to do that. And by shooting alone, or I don't always shoot alone. I shoot with some close friends as well who we trust and work well enough with each other over time and experiences that like we can shoot at the same time and know we're going to walk away with two totally different things. But in a group like that, where I don't really know these people very well, they don't know me very well other than just YouTube. This was a meetup, right? This is like a 12 strangers coming together in the desert. It was such an awesome event.
Yeah.
But like, I just don't want, like, I didn't want someone to hit the piñata and then I'm one of the guys grabbing candy. Like I wanted to, you know, like not get inspired for the wrong thing. Like that's their thing. If they found a shot, then I want them to have it. You know, I don't even want to be tempted to say, oh, that is cool. Let me get one too, you know? Because what if mine is 1% better? What if theirs is 1% better? You know, then you have this like weird feeling with each other. You know what I mean? It's not where I don't, but like some people can get that way. And when I don't know the other person, I don't want them to like feel insecure or, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
of course.
So that's what I was trying to avoid.
All right, cool. Well, let's see. Oh yeah, this is it.
There's also the ever awareness that you don't want to like shoot on someone's residence, you know, without their permission. And while there's not a lot of people here to even ask permission of, you don't know who's living in a camper or one of these old houses out here. It's a really weird community with a lot of desert folk that don't want to be bothered, which is why they live here. So you almost have to like Just be very aware of that as you wander around the city. The part of good photography or this style of photography is like awareness that it's not about you and you're just here to observe, like a way of life. Yep.
So how do you practically apply this philosophy when you're in a community like the one you described?
Yeah. So a photographer's like mandate is to capture, right? We capture a moment, and a good photo outlives a photographer, and a good photo doesn't need credit. You know what I mean? I've seen some great photos. I couldn't tell you who the photographer is, you know, because I remember the photo, but I don't need to know the photographer because a good photo doesn't need the credit. So, and when you start to realize that as a photographer, you get out of the way a little bit. I'm not out there thinking, what can I, like, how can I hype this up about me? How can I show how great I am and get these amazing shots? I'm in Keeler, California. I'm not coming out of here with a life-changing, you know, portfolio. But I do think this town, which has made it this far, is interesting. The history and things that have been left there are interesting. So I want to photograph things that are interesting to me, right? That's the only part that's about me, is like what I'm photographing, things that they're interesting to me. And at the same time, like, what do I do with that? Like the end result, like what is it for? Well, I mean, in my practical regard, it's to like showcase like what it's like to make this kind of work. That's why I do YouTube, right? Because like I'm photographing for the intent of like teaching or processing or taking the cultural value, which is don't impose yourself on someone's private property and get in their face. Like that's a value, a teaching moment that I can only make when I'm photographing in the desert. Do you see what I'm saying? So like the photos I got there, I like them. I haven't printed any of them. I haven't done anything other than shared them on Instagram and on my website. But I was able to draw teaching moments from it, you know, for a video that I did.
Yeah.
So, and I think those teaching moments might follow the person that watched it to all of their work. So it's like the return on the investment is the teaching moment, not the photograph.
Oh man, that's awesome. So you made a strong case for midday lighting, and that was cool to hear.
It's very bright and very sunny, which is awesome because I love shooting in midday light. It's my favorite light to shoot in. There's something like more real about shooting in midday light because most of the day looks like this. Golden hour is all like perfect and dreamy, flawless. It's not real.
And it's interesting because that challenges a lot of like photography, like the rules of photography. So we touched on that. So I don't think we need to go down that road again. But it's funny to hear that. And then like it's
like a core value of mine. I'm gonna shoot all day.
Well, I've heard also in a couple other your videos saying that too.
If a photographer doesn't know how to handle middle of the day light, then that photographer is going to miss out on photography because most of the day, this is what it looks like. Yeah, think about it, man. Like the light is harsh. Like right now in summertime, the light is harsh by 8:30, 9 o'clock. But 9 o'clock, it is harsh, right? And it's going to stay harsh until about 5:30. So 9 to 5, let's just say that. That's a work day.
Yeah.
Like you literally have missed the work day in opportunity if you only shoot golden hour. And that's not even golden hour. That's like just like a golden hour probably ends at 8, 7:30, 8, you know? And you got an hour of like that almost harsh. And then on the back end, golden hour started here, I think at 7. And you know, we got out here at 4, but I was still taking photos when we got out here. And so like, the point I'm making is that like, you're going to miss it if you are afraid to shoot in the middle of the day. Literally everything was here last time. But what I'm looking for are things that maybe I haven't noticed before. Things that might be overlooked by many people that come here simply because they're not like the thing you're here to shoot.
So what's your internal process for turning those into obvious subjects when you revisit a location?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's definitely like my hit list, and I typically shoot in locations over and over and over. Like when we were in Keeler,
all Sierra, that you've done that before.
I've done all that before, and I'll do it again. There are some things when I came home that I liked, and if I liked it, I might try it again. and I might have something, maybe the weather will be different, the lighting will be different. But like there's a car in Keeler. The first time I photographed it, funny enough, that car's been there for like 60 or 70 years, a very old car. But when I first photographed it, I don't know what it was. Maybe it was the sky, but it was more blue. The second time I photographed it was more gray. And I was like, did it fade over the course of like a year? So next time I go back, I'm going to find that car again and I'm going to see what's up. So like, that's an example of like revisiting. But also like, sometimes like if you get the shot, you got the shot. Like go find something else, you know, when you revisit a spot. So like the Tetons are a good example of that. The famous Ansel Adams Snake River, you know, overlook. You can go to Snake River, that same overlook. I mean, it's quite different today, much more trees like blocking the view. But I've got the shot from there. I got it in 2020. You know, I finally got it in 2020, the perfect sunrise, top of the mountain, everything about it, I got it. So now when I'm in the Tetons, I don't go do that shot again. I go to other places because I got that one.
It's funny you say that because I have this obsession with Mount Shasta. Like I go up there to do astrophotography.
Yeah.
The reason is my family, my grandma lived there until she was 104. My dad grew up there.
Yeah.
And so it feels like a second home, especially being, you know, new to California. But I have this excuse I use. I could do it better. I know I missed something. And I keep going back. And I actually got the shot back in like 2021 or 22. And it's gorgeous. I had a time, you know, I had the Earth orbiting, you know, so.
That's awesome.
And every time I go back, it's not even close to that. So yeah, it's like one of those things. It's like move on, go somewhere else, explore.
The only resource we have that is limited is time, right? Because money's fluid. There's times in your life where you have some more, and there's other times you have less. But like time is a one-way street, and so like if you keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, thinking you're gonna do it better and better, you're gonna miss that time you gave to it. Could have done 100 other things, you know, and then you kind of miss out on those things because you were obsessed thinking you were gonna do better at that one thing.
Yeah. So I loved your concept of this. This was awesome when I heard it.
I'm also looking for like low effort shots, not like in a lazy way, but in like okay, to my left, there was just a scene, and to my right, there's another scene, and all I had to do was make a turn. That's literally it. I didn't have to do anything else but make a turn. So because of that, this is a very low effort shot, which honestly is really freaking nice.
So could you talk more about the joy and skill in finding these kind of images?
Yeah. I think a lot of times photographers get blinders on, right? So you see this composition and you're like, oh man, look at the way the light's hitting that tree. Now you got the blinders on. And the blinder is your lens through the camera, by the way. Like you look through the camera, you're like, oh, that's it. That's the shot. And you get that shot and then you move on. What if you get the shot and you take a minute and turn? What's over here? What's over here? Like, there might be a second shot that you're the only one that knows the relationship, the 90-degree relationship between here and here. Your viewers, they're going to think, they don't know if this was a year later, a mile down the road. They don't know any of that. And so the low effort shot is like, you saw this thing, but take a minute and look left, look right, do a 360 scan and see if there's a second one. Because 9 out of 10 times there is.
Yeah, that's so true. So in the clips you said
as someone who does YouTube, I will get backups digitally, but that is not an option for me today. I am committed to only shooting film. Oh man, that is a really wild shot, but there's a fence.
What is it about the commitment to film that appeals to you, especially when you're also creating YouTube content that benefits from digital flexibility?
Yeah, 100%. In January and February, I think I had locked my digital camera in a box back then. I think I was using film only because that's like, I had like put that restriction on myself. Film photography is how I started. And digital, here's how I can just sum it up. With digital photography, you can overshoot. With film, you can overshoot, but you pay for it. And when you can spray and pray, you're going to take a quantity of photos with a low hit rate because you're going to say, oh, you know, I took 500 photos when keeping 50, right? Because you can. With film, you're not going to press that shutter unless you mean it. Like, now granted, I've gotten a little more forgiving of myself being okay wasteful, but like I have a roll of film in here that I can't can't get back, right? I told you before, this is a roll of film from the movie Die Hard. Like I got it from a friend of mine who got it, like he's in the movie industry. He was able to get a roll of film from the movie Die Hard from a vault and clipped it into, rolls we can use. I've got 5 rolls of this. I brought one here. I fired off 21 shots since we got here. I can't get this back, and when it's gone, it's gone. Now, I want to make every shot really matter, but I took a few risks today. I took some shots that may or may not work out, and that's growth in me. Because it used to be I wouldn't fire it unless I knew for sure because I didn't want to waste it, but then I have a roll in my camera for 6 months.
The best thing was like when we're driving up here, we go around a corner and there's the pickup truck just flipped over on its side.
Like, what the heck? Right?
And I'm trying to like process it in my brain going like, what do I do here? Before I could even think, your camera came up. You're like, oh, I have to fire this off.
Yeah.
And it was just like, wow, this is awesome.
Yeah, and I took 3 photos of that to make sure I got the right, I changed up the exposure a little bit. Like, I want to make sure I get it right. Questions and answers, man. If I handed you that photo of a pickup truck turned on a curvy mountain road, literally the ranger's telling you to go around it on this much space. And you're like, how? You even said, you're like, how?
I'm like, I feel like I'm about to fall off the road.
Yeah, it's like, if I hand you that photo, you're going to say, what happened? Right? That's why I had to be photographed.
That's so cool, man. That's so cool.
The first thing I do when I put my stuff down is set the video up. Because for YouTube, that is the establishing shot for my viewers to know what they can expect. And if I don't get that shot right, it doesn't inspire a ton of confidence that the photo is going to be right.
How does the need to create for YouTube integrate or influence your purely photographic process when you're on location?
Yeah, that's a growth question.
Yeah.
I still think I do a very good job with that. I'm trying to get more cinematic on video. I typically, the low effort is here's a video shot of what I'm about to get. And then I get the photo that matches it. That's honestly what I've done for years, or for 2 years now on my channel. Because it's low effort and I can be a photographer. Now I'm starting to try to think like a videographer.
Well, I'll interject to that. For me, it's beautiful. I love the way you do that because it's set up like a photo, but it reminds me a lot of the Coen brothers, how they have tripod and they have a long shot and let things plan out. I love it, especially for YouTube, where YouTube is mostly about fast-paced, get cinematic. It's like, man, especially what you're doing with photography, it matches.
I think that establishing shot where it's the same composition that I'm going to show you on the photo, but you see the grass moving. I think there's definitely a coolness and a place for that. What I'm trying to do now is add more context to that by getting 3 shots instead of 1. And so, but that's challenging for me because I have to think like a video guy for a minute. Normally the photo guy can just put the tripod down. That's what I did in Keeler. Yeah. I had that tripod, I put it down, pointed it up, hit record, got some photos, stopped it, nothing moved, but now I'm like, okay, how can I get myself in the frame? How can I get a medium, a wide, and a tight? And that's a different level of processing.
Dude, that's a lot. I mean, I watch YouTube videos and just by shooting films and videos and all that stuff I've done, I know the process that goes into it. And it's a lot of work what people do to make those videos look good and cinematic. And it, for me, I'm burned out as it is. So for me, when I'm this past week or 2 weeks ago, went to go Shasta, I was planning on doing a YouTube thing. I couldn't think like that. Yeah. So I'm doing photography and I was a little bit off for that. And so I was like, no, I can't do it. I have to focus. But that's my brain. My brain is it needs to focus on one thing at a time. Photography, I'm still learning. And some of the things, practices, I don't do it enough. So I tend to forget. And I don't want to capture that.
That's it, man. I think a lot of it's muscle memory. I used to feel that way, especially when I started the YouTube channel. I was didn't know how to do both at all. And it was if I did good video, it was that I got shitty photos. They were awful. And if I did good photos, I probably didn't even get it on video, right? And I think just the cranking them out, staying on top of it, getting it so it's muscle memory has helped me do what you're describing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason, though, is just because I've done it. I suffered through it enough
Yes.
that now I can comfortably do it
Yeah,
and do
that's
it
true.
efficiently.
Yeah, it makes sense. Just muscle memory. So there's a few more.
Oh man, I think I'm shooting gold 200 in this camera, which means I'm underexposing it by 2 stops. I'm just gonna commit at this point, see it through. Film is a little more friendly with overexposure, not so friendly with underexposure. Okay, I'm really stoked on this shot. I really hope it turns out. Like I said, I know for a fact I've been underexposing, which sucks. It was really disappointing. But I'm gonna commit so I can push it in post.
So can you give us a little insight into that technical side of film
Yeah,
and the trust collaboration involved with the processing?
I'm pretty sure, if I'm trying to remember correctly here, I thought I was shooting I think Portra 400, but I was shooting gold 200.
Yeah.
So what was happening is I was metering as if it was a 400 ISO film, but it was really a 200, which means it's not as sensitive as 400. So it's getting less light. Therefore, it's going to be 1 stop underexposed. So at that point, I realized I messed up because I was like, I think I have gold 200 in here. And I was like, I remembered I had gold 200. I had already taken a couple of photos. And it's like at that point, if I correct the metering in the camera, then I'm going to lose those first few photos because they'll be underexposed. If I tell the lab to push it, it just means that the lab's going to cook it a little longer in the chemical. And when you push film, it gets brighter.
Okay.
And gets a little grainier, just a little grainier, but it's medium format. So grain is like so fine on medium format, you can barely see it anyway. So I was like, okay, if I tell the lab to push it by 1 stop, I'm saying add enough time on the chemical mix to increase the brightness by 1 stop, equivalency to the camera. So by doing that, you get a little more contrast, you get a little more grain, but you also get your image back.
Okay.
So I pushed it and I got it all back.
Nice.
And it was no problem at all.
Very nice.
Instead, and if you underexpose film, it looks nasty. Film, you can overexpose all day long. Underexposing film, it's like really grainy, really faded, really blue or purple. Doesn't look good.
This was cool. You described a specific composition.
The scene is kind of busy high up, but when you're low, you're kind of shooting up towards things. Like you can get the sky, and in our case here, the mountains a little better because you're shooting at a waist level or lower vantage point. I personally like a lot of sky in my photos. I don't get rid of negative space. I love negative space. I'm like, the more negative space, the better for me.
It was cool to hear because a lot of photographers don't like negative space. I want to fill it.
Space.
The more negative space, the better for me. So just, could you talk about that?
Yeah. In fact, on a video I just did, I think I even mentioned I was looking for negative space. And the one I just did at the fairgrounds. Negative space, to me, makes your subject get more attention. Because it's literally like I got a picture at the county fair of the Ferris wheel, but I didn't get it like in its own lane. I got it underneath of it high with a lot of sky and a little Ferris, and the Ferris wheel just in the side. And in doing that, you're like, your attention is now drawn to this like emptiness and this one thing in the emptiness.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, if you want to take that into storytelling, now the Ferris wheel, this is a little like maybe dramatic, but like, you know, it's like this one isolated thing in this big sea of things that are busy, right? Well, the sky is like, it's the opposite of that. Like the fair is busy, there's carnival lights, sounds everywhere, but I've isolated it into the sky. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The mountains do the same thing. Like when you get a shot of like this one thing and then you got this space of mountains and sky above you, you're kind of isolating the one thing. So it feels a little more special than just like mixed in with everything else.
That makes so much sense. That's and this is the last of the. It's interesting because you said
And it's real easy to think that you're the hero in this moment because you're out here with a camera, but that could not be further from the truth, because the hero in the moment is really the image. And the story you're telling is dependent on that person being at peace with you telling that story.
Now, how do you actively maintain that perspective and keep the focus on the image and the story rather than your role?
Yeah, I think it just goes back to what I said before. Like, photos outlive photographers, and good photos don't always give credit. And so at the end of the day, my photos are going to outlive me, and I hope they outlive generations. Like, I hope that maybe like 5 generations from now, if we make it, as a humanity, maybe like my photos will still be around, even though they may have forgotten my name.
That's awesome.
And that would just be in my family probably, or maybe at Target. But you know what I mean? Like the photo's the hero. The image is the hero.
I have a feeling, though, like you're going to have amazing opportunities coming your way.
I mean, I welcome it. I welcome it.
You already have. And part of that is your journey in YouTube and how you have, dude, when you started your YouTube channel, like that was just that's when our friendship
began. We
had
had just met.
Yeah.
We actually met about 4 months before I started it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember you were like, I'm going to do this. And I was like, wow. And it blew up. And I love how, I love the vibe that your channel has, because it's not your typical YouTube channel about like, look at me, I'm cool. It's about like a community, like you're informing people, and you really want to bring people in the journey, but also share with others. And that's like a very unique thing that's hard to see. But from my perspective, I'm more about like telling other people's story and putting it on YouTube. And that's not what YouTube is. YouTube is about community. It's about sharing, being vulnerable, and connecting with people by sharing your experiences and all the things that you do. And you have a lot. And just one video, you share so much. And you have 220.
Yeah. Yeah, I do 2 a week, and I've done it for a little over 2 years now. So yeah.
Yeah, I want to jump into your process, because I also understand like the way you churn out videos. That means you have to have content, but you also have to plan content. And not just this week, like you're planning. What is your planning, your market, even marketing, and how do you get that whole funnel kind of like?
Yeah, I'm constantly concepting, and I keep a very like detailed board. I use Notion, and I have a Notion board for just concept dumping. And so like right now, if I open up my Notion board, I probably have 50 to 70 concepts I could just grab and go with. And
even after like all those things you've already done.
Yep. Because sometimes like you come up with an idea, and that's a cool idea, but then there's like 5 other spin-offs you could do from that one idea. And those are all concepts. And so now I may or may not do them. They may or may not like make that cut right away, but maybe they will in a year. And so I just have this long concept board, and then I use, it's like a Trello board, right? And I have the concepts, and then I have like, I keep my next column as like what I'm inspired for. Like I'll pull 10 or so that I'm like feeling right now in this season. And then like what is on deck, which I'm actively going to do. Then it's in progress, which means I've started it, I'm working on it. Maybe I haven't got it done yet, but I'm working on it, and then it's finished, right? So I just move things across as I feel inspired for them. And that concept and inspired for, they're constantly back and forth. Because like, if I, like, as I'm coming into July, right? Because now like we're 10 days from July. So I'm like, okay, what am I inspired for the next 40 days? Because today plus 30. So I pulled a bunch of stuff over, but by July 10th, I might not be inspired for half of those. So they might go back.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm flexible while trying to keep stuff available. Today, I shot a video that I was inspired for based upon a question I was asked yesterday. So I got asked, somebody said, hey, I really want to get a Leica film camera. You have an M6, but they're very expensive, which they are. Are there any Leica film cameras that aren't as expensive as the M6? So I was like, you know what? That's a good question. I was like, there's actually, I told the guy, there's actually a camera that is literally an M6 without a light meter. And like there's a sleeper camera, like nobody knows about it. So like people don't ever talk about it. I never hear this one brought up. So because I was inspired for that, that's the video I shot that'll be live Monday. So it's in progress right now, but like I shot it today because I answered his question, but that's a common question.
Yeah.
So with not a lot of information on the answer.
Oh,
So like I moved that up. So that was like a 24-hour response, you know? So it's like you have to have some flexibility while having systems to work within.
that's fascinating.
And then it just execute it. Just do it.
So let me ask you a few questions just based on like everything. So what is the most difficult thing about doing what you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, time management is definitely the most difficult thing. You have to become good at it. And if you're not good at it and you can't get good at it, you will fail because it is impossible to be consistent and not get good at time management. Those things fight each other. So I do 2 videos a week. At least I have been doing 2 videos a week for 2 years. And that's 104 videos a year, plus, you know, the little over 2 years I've done it. I have a video, I have a video due Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Pacific time. Why 6:15? That's a system because I want Europe to be able to watch my video because I have a lot of viewers in Germany and the UK. So they get my video in their late afternoon when they're getting off work, which is East Coast mid-morning, which is sunrise here. That's how it is all year. So that's the system, right? But I have a video due Monday morning and it's Thursday. And I shot that video today. It is due Monday morning and I have to have it. There was this documentary done on South Park. It's called 6 Days to Air. I didn't know this when I watched it years ago. The documentary came out like 2012, maybe 11. But those guys make an entire episode in 6 days. And that's why they're able to stay current with events. That's why if you watch South Park, well, it used to be, I haven't watched it in a long time, but it used to be like, you could watch South Park and it was like, what was in the news 2 days ago is on South Park. And you're like, how do they do that? It's because they make the episode in 6 days because it's due. Well, if you come into YouTube with that mentality, I have a video due Monday at 6:15 a.m. and another one Thursday at 6:15 a.m. Those are my release days, Mondays and Thursdays. Then I have to get it done. And if it's Wednesday night at midnight and it's not done, I'm pulling an all-nighter. Now, granted, that's never happened, but that's where the time management comes in. The hardest thing is the time management. If you can master like the time management, which means you have to know yourself, know if you're a super flexible, fly by the seat of your pants kind of guy, you can't give yourself ride or die systems because the second you miss one thing, you're going to punish yourself and go lay on the couch. You know what I mean? So you have to know yourself well enough to make systems that work for you. And then you have to get efficient. And that's why that all that time management, that is those things. It's knowing yourself. It's efficiency. It's the way you schedule, what you say yes to, what you say no to. Like there's all these things, but that 100% harder than the concepts, harder than the making the video, harder than the editing. You mentioned the marketing. I don't market. I just post it on my Instagram and post it on YouTube. That's it. Like I have no marketing plan. It's like, if the algorithm blesses you, you get blessed. If it doesn't, you don't, right? And so like, if your video sucks and doesn't do well, then it sucked. And you have to be okay with that and move on. Yeah. Because like, if I dwell on like my video that came out Monday, I thought it was gonna do well. It did not. It was my worst performing video in months. But if I'm like beating myself up, if I'm like all upset about it, then it doesn't help me go forward. Yeah. So I just say, you know what? That didn't resonate. Cool, next one. What's next? What's next? And every video, 1% better, just 1% better, 1% better.
Something I know about you is you're a very generous person. Like you do things on social media where you give free coffee to people like Starbucks. How fast does that go?
Depends on the day. I typically do it on Sundays, and most Sundays I do it. Usually it's gone by 9 or 10 a.m. It depends on who sees it. And like what kills me is that like when I started doing it about a year ago, somebody multiple times would like screenshot the card and then like delete it. And like the second it was reposted, they would just try it on Sunday mornings. So it was someone in Overland Park, Kansas. Because I get the receipts.
Oh, interesting.
I have 2 Starbucks cards on my app. I have mine, and then I have the one I give away coffee on.
Sure.
But I get all the receipts. And so I see who's buying what. I mean, I don't know who it is, but I see where it is, and I see what they're buying. And somebody like one time bought like a coffee mug. And I'm like, man,
that's
you
not
like,
what,
yeah, I'm like, And so now I started posting, hey, just take one and leave it for others. Like, be kind to others. Like, so I don't know. So it really depends. I would say most Sundays when I do it though, it's gone by 9 or 10 a.m. But then even today, man, I had someone message me today and they were at a Starbucks and they sent me a picture at a Starbucks and they were like, will you buy me a coffee?
Oh my God.
And I'm like, man, these freaking people, dude. I was like, it was like, I'm here at Starbucks now. Can you buy me one? And I'm like, I just didn't respond.
Like, yeah, good. That's worse than spam.
Yeah, right.
Because they're taking advantage of your generosity.
Yeah.
The last question, and then we'll wrap it up. So what is your favorite thing about what you're doing right now?
Yeah, it's the freedom that I get from doing it. Like I was sharing with you earlier, I was doing commercial photography and photographing things I didn't care about, and like working really hard for not a lot of gain. And I started YouTube for numerous reasons, but the top two would be one, like I want to like do what I can to like help empower and inspire people, educate them. So like there's a part of me that loves to teach, and I love like being able to share. Like I'm not a gatekeeping person. Like if I have access to something and it'll help you, I'll give it to you, like information or anything. And so I wanted to like put that out there. But second, I wanted YouTube to be a job. I wanted to make it as an entrepreneur a feasible way to provide for my family. And therefore it meant consistency. It meant like having things I can monetize, right? So I built those things, and it has become that, which is amazing. Like, and I'm very, very grateful that I get to do this, because like what it did was it allows me to go shoot the things I want to shoot. And if I make a video on it, it makes money. It's like my job.
Yeah.
It's like you go to work and you do a job and you get paid. My job is photographing what I want to photograph. I mean, I recognize how blessed I am to get to do that. You know, like I'm going to go to the Eastern Sierras next week. I was sharing with you to photograph something I've wanted to photograph for a long time that I've never been able to get to because every time I've gone, it's inaccessible. It's not right now. I can get to it. So, and that'll be a video, but that will also like pay the bills.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like I bought my freedom by starting a YouTube channel. So, and that's why I'm hustling so hard. But now, granted, I work like 60 hours a week on that YouTube channel. I work more now than I ever have, in addition to all the other stuff I have going on. So my life is taxed like crazy, but I chose those things. I don't have to do those things. I chose to do them. I get to do them, which is a much better position than I have to go take 8 hours of video at a vet today. You know what I mean? Like at a vet, I got to go interview doctors today at a vet, like for 8 hours. I had to do that. I get to do this.
Thank you, Dave, for spending this time with me.
Yeah, man. Thanks so much for having me.
And I know, like you said, you know, we've been trying to do this for a long time.
Yeah.
Scheduling, you've been very busy, and then my schedule's so having this time and getting outside of a computer and sitting in nature, and as it's getting colder.
You picked a great spot, other than the fact that we're weak Californians and it's freezing.
Yes, yeah, we're Mount Diablo up in elevation.
I think it's like probably 60 degrees and we're like dying. I'm dying.
It was 60, now it's probably like
it's 55.
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
My hands, like they're numb.
Yeah, but it's been awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you
Dude,
so much.
thanks so much for having me.
It was awesome.
That's it for this episode of Talent Freaks. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you so much, Dave, for the insight, friendship, and also wonderful conversation that we had. If you didn't know, I'm learning. I'm first a filmmaker, storyteller, documentary filmmaker, and I picked up the camera during the pandemic and I haven't put it down. So listening to Dave is also like me learning on the fly, and he has so much information and he's sickly talented. And if you're new to this channel, thank you so much. Please subscribe and like and hit that bell. I think it does something about algorithms. Also, you, the viewers of YouTube, I would love your feedback. If you have anybody that you think would be great to have on this platform with me, put it in the comments or reach out to me at talentfreaks.com. Not only did he share some amazing stories, but Dave is also the creator behind very good presets. If you're a photographer looking to create beautiful film-like edits and streamline your workflow, you have to check them out. Dave has spent years perfecting these presets, which he uses for his own professional work. And he was generous enough to offer our listeners 15% off. So check the description for the discount code and links to his website, Instagram, and YouTube channel. Let's support independent artists. That's it for this episode. Thank you so much again for watching. and tune in again for the next one.